the problem is you speak a lot, but you don't listen. That's the problem. And so when men speak, and this has been the problem for like a long time, when men start speaking and telling you exactly what they want, women find excuses as to not give the men what they're actually asking for. Okay, so when men start saying what they want, women start saying, "Oh, that's misogynistic. Right. Oh, that is that's patriarchy." All of these things. That's what women start saying. But men have been the same from day one. Men have generally not changed
I feel like
what they
go
want.
along with
Fit, feminine, friendly.
Fit, feminine, friendly.
It goes to your point about submissiveness. So if you say that women react in that sort of way, if they don't, and they just say, yeah, okay, I'm understanding what you want, then that's the submissiveness that you are talking about, isn't it? Really, rather than being so direct.
You're
about
right.
everything.
You're right, because it's agreeable. So like disagreeable is a masculine trait.
And like masculine is like, for example, there was this woman I heard about some random shit, saying he's like they're married, and the woman is like, I don't want to have sex every day, this. It's my body. Shut the fuck up, man. When you get in a marriage, I own you, bitch. You are my bitch. So when you're my bitch, if I want to have sex, if I came home from a long day trying to provide for you, you're going to open your legs and I'm going to get smashing. Like, what the hell?
She could literally...
I thought it was a decent conversation until this guy started.
Until he opened his mouth.
What the... You can't call your wife your bitch.
That's disrespectful.
That's a derogatory term. Like if we're gonna use like we're gonna use English the way English is supposed to be used. Bitch is an insult. Your wife is not your bitch. And look, some people might give me some pushback on this when I say this. If a woman doesn't want to have sex with you every single day, you can't be like, I own you, you're giving me that.
Isn't that classed as rape?
I mean, if she says no and he does it anyway, then yeah, it is. I'm not saying that he would forcibly do it. He'd probably sit in the room and like have a strop. But even then, that's ridiculous. Like, there's gonna be times where your girl comes home from work, and because let's not pretend like most of us are not in a situation where you can live in London, for example, on one paycheck. Most people you're helping each other out in some capacity. And even if she's not, if she's looking after the kids at home, and let's say there's been a day that it's been particularly stressful, especially stressful on that day. If she's being genuine, she's like, I don't want to have sex today, and she's giving you sex 6 times out of the week, you really gonna get on her case on the 7th day?
This is it though. It's like the first guy was making a point and saying things and saying every time men speak, women then come out saying that's misogynistic and things like that. And it's like, but then he opened his mouth and he is the reason why women are going to say them things, because everything he's saying is just outright rude and wrong. He
derailed the conversation. Like, they were having a back and forth. I was enjoying the back and forth between them. I think they both made some fair points. And then maybe he's joking. Maybe we've cut him off too early and he's going to say, I'm joking. But
it just seems like he's been watching Andrew Tate too much.
I've consumed a lot of Andrew Tate content. Andrew Tate was taken out of context a lot of the time. I do not believe, I'm going to state this right now on here, I do not believe Andrew Tate is a misogynist. I don't believe he hates women. I think clips were taken out of context. As a matter of fact, he just did a 4-hour podcast covering this. And I've been watching Andrew Tate for a long time, but we're digressing. We'll talk about Andrew Tate another time.
That's like a respect that a woman actually wants.
That's a bit
There's a difference between what you want and what you need.
You worded it like that, bro.
That's a bit disrespectful for women.
Do you not think?
I'm sure you can reword it better.
Do you not think that sex is a duty? Do you not? Okay. Do you think sex is a duty in marriage?
See, this is the only thing I don't like about Pearlie's podcast. If the girls had said something that mad, she would have pushed back on it. She hasn't pushed back on what this guy's just said. It makes it come across like pandering a little bit. Like, I like her podcast. I think she's done a great job with growing it. I think that there are some interesting conversations that happen on it. But it's moments like this that kind of makes me look at the thing sideways, because we've seen her have some really stupid guests on and she's put them in their place. And I'm not saying that this guy is stupid, but what he's just said is ridiculous. That is a ridiculous thing to say. You can't just tell your girl to open her legs whenever you want.
Also as well, because he was saying, I've just had a long day at work providing for you, so you need to open your legs. Now, in every situation, it's not always going to be the man providing for the woman. And even if he was providing, that doesn't mean that you're just entitled to just do what you want to her as a person. She is still a human being.
Yeah, she's not a ragdoll.
Yeah, you can't just feel like you take ownership over someone. I just personally feel it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and sex is a very intimate act. Even if you're both just doing it for pleasure and there's not like a lot of feeling there or whatever, you can't just demand sex from somebody. Like, I would like to think that he's joking here. I don't think he is. I would like to think he is, though. That's a really, really poor mindset to have. I don't think any sane person would think that that's an okay thing to do to a woman. Even if she's at home every single day, even if she's done nothing on that day, you can't just demand sex from her. She should want to give it to you. If she's not giving you sex, it's been like 4 weeks and all she's doing is sitting at home, maybe you've got a problem. Maybe then a conversation can be had. You still can't forcibly go and open her legs or tell her, open your legs right now. You can't do those things. There has to be boundaries.
I don't think he was joking.
I don't think he was joking either, but I wish he was.
I want the woman to satisfy his sexual pleasure.
Okay. So no, yes. What about Yes. Because I would say, like, if he's marrying you, he's protecting and providing. Why would you not give him sex?
No, I'm not saying I'm not giving him sex. It's just like it shouldn't be a duty. It shouldn't be like a.
Okay, if you do not.
Yeah, see, this is it. This even that question. If he's protecting and providing for you, then why wouldn't you want to give him sex? I don't think that's the point here. It's not the point of you don't want to give your partner sex. I think naturally, if you're in a marriage or relationship, it's natural to do that. However, this just goes back to the point of just because a man is protecting and providing for you doesn't mean you have to give him sex. Yeah. It should be natural, but that should not be the reason why it happens.
It is the duty of both people in the relationship to love each other, and sex comes with that. It's a man's duty to give his girlfriend the D, right? As well. Like otherwise she's gonna go looking for it elsewhere.
It's not just men who need it as well.
I would have hoped that Pearly would have pushed back on that a bit.
So like, she's defending him though.
Yeah, it is like she's defending him, and I don't think she needs to pander. Her podcast is big enough. She can have a bit more of a nuanced opinion. I think that if you get with somebody, on some level there's a duty for both of you to provide for each other sexually. And I 100% understand that there's going to be instances or there's going to be stints of your relationship where you're just not able to really do it, either because you're both busy or by the time you both get home you're both knackered. You don't come home and demand that your woman opens her legs. If you need to demand for your woman to open her legs anyway, then you've got a problem.
But I also think if we're taking it there's also a lot of men, not saying all, but a fair amount, who are selfish in the bedroom when it comes down to pleasuring a woman as well. So there's a lot of men that will just do it until they're done and that's it. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think it works the same way. If you're saying like a woman should be giving a man sex and this, that and the other, that's because he needs that. But then what about her needs as well? Because it's in most scenarios, she's not getting satisfied, but you've still done what you needed to do. So I think it can also be flipped and work both ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, 100%. Like I'll be the first to admit, I always grew up seeing like women not getting their fair end of the deal and thinking it was okay. And it's not okay. Like I was saying, like you have a duty to provide for your woman sexually as well, even if you are out there providing.
Women are not just here on earth to please and pleasure men. I'm
not saying that she shouldn't. She should. If she's your wife, she should be giving you sex. But if there's a day, or even if there's a week, you know, like there's so many things that happen to us day to day that put us in a mood or like bring us down.
Periods as well.
Periods and like all sorts of situations. And the same goes for a man. If a woman was behaving that way, I'd say the exact same thing. The guy's been working 12 to 14 hours. He's come home. He's tired. He doesn't want to have sex. He wants to eat and go to bed. You should be able to understand that as an adult.
To me,
it's not an ownership.
But see, that's like a lack of submission though. Because if you're submissive, you just say, okay, yeah, whenever you want, because you're the man, you're in charge.
So what if like I also finished at work or everything like that, and he wants to have you know.
Okay, do you show up to your job when you don't feel like it?
Sorry?
Do you show up to your job when you don't feel like it?
Yes.
Being a wife is a job. That's your job. Just do it even when you don't feel like it.
It's not the same thing.
Wow.
It's such a...
I'm actually shocked.
That's such a bizarre way to put it. You do show up to your job because it is a necessity. You have to pay the bills. Otherwise, the lights are going to go out and you're going to be on the streets. I'll speak on your behalf. Like, you don't have to have sex with somebody if you're not feeling up for it.
And being a wife is not a job. And I think she's putting the completely wrong advice or mentality out there for women.
Even if you see being a wife as a job, even if you did, it's not a job in the same vein as an occupation, right? It's not the same as going to work and doing your 9 to 5, even if you don't want to, because you know full well that you won't be able to eat, you won't be able to sleep with a roof over your head, you won't be able to shower, you won't be able to do any of the things that we need to do in a modern functioning society. It's not in the same boat as not wanting to have sex. It's not the same as not showing up to your job. That is a ridiculous stance to take.
I just think all of this sounds very degrading to women.
I don't know why she's saying that. It baffles me. Like, it baffles me that you would even make that description, that correlation between them. There's no correlation there.
It actually annoys me. I feel like for once in my life I can understand why women are feminists now, because comments like that.
No, that's not good too
just
far.
No, but like a comment like that is just so bad. Like, women are not exactly, and that's what's even more annoying. Like, women are not objects. Women should not be controlled. Women should not be taken advantage of. And I feel like I sound like a feminist right now, but you can't say being a wife is a job, and even if you don't feel like it, you should have sex with a guy because you have to do it. No, we are humans as well. Men are not better than us. They should not be able to just have and do whatever they want, and women can't back. That's not fair.
Being a wife is a job. That's your job. Just do it because, even when you don't feel like it.
So may I ask a question then? You're a man, you're a provider. I want this, so you go get it for me. Because you're a man. You know what a woman wants. Provide that for me and that's it.
Provide what?
The moment you provide me what I want. I want a bigger house. I want a bigger car. I want a bigger everything.
Wait. I'm actually...
but you're a provider. And when you marry you, you are my man. Provide for me.
I'm glad you said that, because that's what modern women do. Actually, one of the number one indicators that a woman is going to leave is if she starts to out-earn her man. And so, and even when you're talking about like education, like, or they out-educate their man, like that's a very similar story that I hear often. So you're actually kind of correct. Women do that constantly. And so when a man
but both are wrong. Both are wrong. Just because women are doing it doesn't mean that you should also stoop to their level if they are doing that. I'm not saying they're not doing that. I don't know what the data is on that. I'm going to assume she's not lying. So let's just assume she isn't lying and that women are doing that, which sounds believable. That doesn't mean that you stoop to their level and demand sex when they don't want to have it. You're supposed to educate people and bring them up to your level. You're not meant to stoop. So if women are out there saying, you're a provider, so I want this car, you tell that idiot to shut up. That's not how it works. You'll get what you're given. And if I can't give you what you're asking for and you don't like it, then piss off. And women who are with men that are demanding that they have sex with them 7 days of the week or whenever they feel like it, and you're not up for him, you should also tell that idiot to piss off.
Yeah, I just think everyone's too demanding these days, and people aren't just having a normal, natural relationship. People are just like setting standards. You're a man, so you have to do this, and you're a woman, so you should have to do this. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. Like, it should just be a partnership. You support each other, and that's it. It shouldn't be, you have to buy me a house and you have to give me sex. Like, that's just ridiculous and bizarre. That's even a discussion.
There are certain things that men do and women do. Neither of these two things that they've said should be in there. You shouldn't be demanding assets from your man because he's the provider. Yeah. And you shouldn't be demanding sex from your woman because you think that's what women's roles are.
But also as well, in modern day, there is a lot more women who are providing for themselves as well and not just relying on a man.
Even if they're not providing for themselves, even if they are, it doesn't matter. Like this demanding, this entitlement from both sides is ridiculous.
If that is the case, then we can't complain about either side. You're a provider, you do what the woman wants. A lot of men will say that it's entitlement. Well, then if you're demanding for your woman to even have sex with you, when she's not in the mood, that's entitlement
Men don't mind providing for women that deserve it.
Well, then a woman doesn't mind opening her legs for a man that deserves it. If you act right, you'll get everything. Definitely.
So why are you getting into a relationship with someone that don't deserve it then?
Because you don't always know who you're getting with.
Okay, now you're waffling.
You don't always know who you're getting with.
Hang on, wait. All right, Linda, go on.
I think there's maybe a discrepancy of the definition of submission. I think you guys have a perception of what they mean by submission, and I may have a different one. So can we kind of clarify what we think submission is?
Yeah, what do women think submission is? Because it's normally women that have a problem with the word. So what do you actually think it is?
I think submission is understanding somebody else's strengths. So if you are a man and you're telling me, babe, I need to go and get this job and you're going to have to do this because this is the plan and this is what you need to do. I guess I would submit in that position because your planning is what you do best. That's your skill. That's what you do. If we're now in the house and you're trying to tell me how is the best way for us to spend money in the house when I run the home, then I'm not going to submit to you trying to tell me that, because actually you need to respect my role and I respect yours. I believe that's what submission is. Submission is when you understand that in respect somebody else's position being in that situation specifically ahead of yours.
Do you think of yourself as a submissive person?
Listen, I dated a Nigerian for 5 years. I know what submission is. And yes, I am submissive if it makes sense. I don't submit just for the sake of things. And when things don't make sense, I actually am able to communicate clearly and maturely enough to explain why this doesn't make sense.
Do you think you give off submissive energy?
But that's not the point. And this is the thing. What I feel like is my strength and power as a woman is actually a filter that I feel gets the right people around me. Because when you get to know me, you understand that this what I'm...
do you know what? I don't feel like the conversation was very constructive. I think that Jamaican girl, I'm assuming she's like Caribbean or something, she was making fair points. I don't think she was completely wrong. I think that a woman can be submissive to her man. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. I don't like hyper-aggressive women. I like women that are submissive, but she's only going to be submissive to you if you're the right guy, right? I mean, you're not going to submit to a moron. You're not going to respect a guy that is demanding sex from you. If you were submissive, you would just be giving him that sex because he already respects you to the point where he's not going to do something egregious like ask you to open your legs when you've had a bad day and you're not feeling like it.
But where has this ideology come from that women should be submissive to men? And why?
I think it's fine for women to be submissive to men because we're the protectors, the providers, the ones that are the security in the house, essentially. It's okay for a woman to be submissive to a man. Like you might get with a man and he'll say, I want you to do this, that, and the other, and you'll be okay with it because you respect him. And you're like, that's my man. He's doing his thing. But that doesn't mean, submission doesn't mean that you just roll over. It doesn't mean you literally just roll over when he says roll over. If you're not feeling up for it, you don't have to do it. And if he's pushing you, there's a problem there anyway.
Okay, but if a man's being a protector and a provider for a woman, does that not mean that he's also being submissive to her?
I don't know if submissive is the word that I would use.
But it's both, you're both just doing things for each other because you care for each other and you feel like each other deserves it because of what each other's doing for each other.
Yeah, but like submission's a specific, it has a specific definition. He's not really submitting to her, he's protecting her.
If he's providing,
yeah.
If she's like, oh, I love flowers and handbags and he goes and does all of that, is that not being submissive? I'm just trying to understand the term of how a woman is submissive and how a man's not, and why a woman should be submissive and a man isn't, when essentially in reality you're both just doing things for each other out of love and care.
I wouldn't say a man
is... a woman should be that.
I wouldn't say a man being a protector and a provider and providing his woman with the things that she wants makes him obedient or passive or bending to her authority, because he's a provider. The same way he provides those things, he can just as easily take them away. The same way with her submission, she's submitting to him because he is providing those sort of things. When I say submit, it doesn't need to have negative connotations attached to it. If you've got a man and he's bought you a car, he respects you, he's put a roof over your head, he looks after you financially, he gets you all of your essentials, you're naturally going to submit to this guy because he's fulfilling everything that you want. You don't need to see it as a negative thing. It's not a negative thing. It's a bad thing if you submit to an absolute piece of shit. But if you're submitting to a man that has fulfilled every single role that he needs to, there's nothing wrong with that. And men like that. Men like submissive women. But the submission is earned, obviously. It's not just given. But being submissive also doesn't mean that if you've had a bad day, if you've gotten some bad news, or if you're just not feeling up for it, because we will have days where we wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Being submissive doesn't mean that you lose autonomy. It doesn't mean that you lose the right to choose or the right to live your day the way you want to. If you're not feeling up for it, you don't need to open your legs. That is a ridiculous stance to take. I completely disagree with the dude that said that, and Pearl not pushing back on that. A woman can be submissive, and you can also have a duty to your partner. Like, I believe it's a man's duty. If someone's disrespecting your woman, if you walk down the street and someone says something, someone touches your girl, it's your duty to defend her. You're the man. That's something that I would expect a man to take care of. So there are certain things that people have a duty to do, and you could put sex in there, but it's not without like nuance. It's not without asterisks next to it, because sex is an intimate act, and if she's not feeling up for it, then you can't say this, you're my bitch, open your legs, I'm taking it. Like, what self-respecting woman would accept something like that? There has to be give and take here.
I mean, he doesn't even look like the sort of guy that would provide for a woman anyway.
Let's not throw personal insults around. Okay, we're attacking the point.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But yeah, that's all I really got to say about that. That was a bit of I watched the full podcast. It was a bit disappointing to not see proper pushback on it, but it is what it is. We all say things that come across stupid. Maybe people would disagree with what I'm saying. You got anything else you want to say?
No.
All right, cool, guys. Let us know what you think in the comment section.